continuous use of our wireless devices come with side effects.
We know that radiofrequency radiation of 3G and 4G are associated with a whole variety of different human health effects.
Come with me.
Current public exposure levels are at least 1 quintillion, that's 18 zeros, 1 quintillion times above natural background radiation, according to Professor Olle Johansson of the Karolinska Institute in Sweden.
And there are studies, for instance, on the blood-brain barrier leakage, where the rats were exposed for 1 minute, not 1 year or anything like 1 minute, and at a very low exposure level compared to what you and I should stand, and they got this dramatic leakage of the blood-brain barrier.
The blood-brain barrier is a filtering mechanism in the brain that blocks the passage of certain substances. Once compromised, it becomes more porous, allowing bacteria and other toxins to infect the brain tissue, resulting in inflammation or sometimes death. The barrier can be compromised from blunt force trauma, high blood pressure, developmental disorders, and exposure to radiation, including microwave radiation. This leakage is more common among children because a child's skull is much thinner. In the Journal of Microscopy and Ultrastructure, authors conducted a meta-analysis of peer-reviewed cell phone exposure studies from 2009 to 2014, concluding that children and unborn babies do face a greater risk for bodily damage that results from microwave radiation given off by wireless devices.
This happens to be called a TES 593 meter. So you can see it's ranging from 0.5, 0.7.
There is no safety level for microwave radiation for children. Not one.
The brain of a child absorbs twice as much radiation as an adult. That's a stunning fact.
Okay, folks, 100 times higher than what I'm calling.
An increasing number of countries around the world are banning the use of Wi-Fi in schools.
In Israel, as well as France, as well as Belgium and Taiwan, there's an active government program to discourage the use of mobile devices by young children.
Now it's in airplane mode, so I feel okay just to show you this. Why? Why would you ever do this to yourself?
The cell phone radiation gets all the way through into the eyes of a child age 6 that might have a phone next to their brain. The consequences, remember, that brain is not protected with myelin, and therefore the exposures of anything to it are going to have a greater impact.
The Education Department says it follows world guidelines on Wi-Fi and advises schools to limit children's exposure.
You are putting it over here. This is called the temporal portion of your skull.
Dr. David Carpenter is a world-renowned expert in environmental toxins in Albany, New York.
The weight of the evidence demonstrates clearly that exposure to radiofrequency radiation causes disease. The evidence is strongest for cancer.
The thinnest bone in your body, which gives the most likelihood that that radiation is going to penetrate into your brain. And if you're a child, that bone is even thinner. This is why this is a really serious issue in children.
There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend.
Stuff is untested on kids. Their safety is not certain.
These untested technologies are, at this time, not ready to be unleashed into our lives.
They're popping up outside bedroom windows and school campuses, despite objections from across the country.
I believe that Americans deserve to know what the health effects are. No research ongoing. We're kind of flying blind here, so far as health and safety is concerned.
Sooner or later, our country will be surrounded by it, and no one knows exactly how it will affect us.